Welcome to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. Well, I did a state of the game the other day, and I just stayed short of criticizing the game. And then I went into the weekend where I had I had a little bit of time to play and to join some of the enablers for our Sundays with the Enablers. That happens every week. Right around 7 Eastern until about 10 or 11 Eastern, depending on how late people stay. I've been going a little bit less than that over the last couple of weeks. Anyway, I'm going to have a couple of things going on in the background. The first video that you see will not have to do with this loadout, but this is my favorite ship with a loadout that I was playing with the Enablers. It is for CF-117 Badgers and 2 broadswords, and that ship over there is my Super Hornet, which I think Onion, you'll see Onion in a game later on, he was playing and actually tore up the whole co-op Vandal Swarm with that thing. He was amazing. We like to play PvE. Yeah, we're kind of Care Bears for now, but that's only because it's far less buggy in the AC right now in Arena Commander than it is in the PU. Nonetheless, let's let some gameplay go, and it's going to begin with a little bit of gameplay in my Mustang with the 2 rocket pods, and then I'll end it with the Enablers one. But I will be talking about the game while you watch these. Couple of things happening in the Star Citizen universe. Actually, there's probably quite a number of things happening, but specifically for those of you that don't have a lot of ships right now, it's a fly free week until the 25th of March, where you can fly any of the ships that are currently flyable in the game. And this is a big help to those of you that don't know exactly which ship you want to get next. I would suggest this one. The Mustang Delta is fun, but I don't know how it's going to be in the PU. You might want something that could carry some kind of cargo. Oh, well, I'm going to leave that up to you. There's so many ships in the game, it won't matter which one you take. You're just going to take the one that you like the most. And, of course, there's going to be a ship sale, according to Jared, this weekend. Which is kind of strange, because normally they tell us what it is a week in advance and how much the ship is going to be. My guess is then it's probably not going to be a very expensive ship. I've been talking to Ben during my Ben's days, and my prediction is probably the Reliant. I would say that Reliant will probably be coming very soon, and that would be the only prediction I have. I can't imagine what other ship it would be. I'm trying to think from the basis of, if they're not giving us a week, it's not going to be a very expensive ship, and a Reliant, from what I understand, was the closest to completion. But there's also some ships that are definitely done, or definitely well along the way, and there's some Vandal ships, and Ben has said that, yeah, possibly we'd get a light fighter from the Vandal, and I think the name or the code name for it was the Blade. And the Blade is supposed to be a comparable ship to the Gladius, which I still think should be renamed the Typhoon. So, in the last couple of days, I've spent a lot of time inside the PU, both in the PU, well, I should say in Star Citizen, both the PU and Arena Commander. And the last time I started to touch on something, and it was about how much content's starting to come out, and I said that possibly what they should do is make the game stable before they brought out more content. And then I had to take a step back and consider this, and maybe you all could help me with this. Maybe this is the point where all of this content has to be thrown in. Like complete content additions inside of 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and then work on making it stable in 3. That's what I kind of hope that they're doing at this point. Because the more they throw in, the more parts of the game are going to break, the more they're going to have to fix. So maybe it's just something that we really, really, really just want them to throw the content and then work on fixing it. So with that said, what kind of content is going to be coming next? 2.3 is coming, we know. Car 2 will be in it. We know that they're trying to get the Starfarer done, but the Starfarer's had to get some upgrades and some polishing, fixing to it. We also know that we're getting close to the Reliant Herald. Herald was supposed to be done real quickly. Ooh. Did I forget Herald? I might have forgot Herald. Maybe the ship sale is for the Herald. Well, nonetheless, all those would be quite far below the $100, or not far below, but below the $100 price point. Maybe I just stumbled into that. And maybe because it's not a concept sale, so for those of you in the coalition for the Polaris Now, it was the coalition for the Corvette Now organization, or whatever you call yourselves last week, it's not going to be that, because a concept ship sale, especially something like a 500-600 or 300 to 400, which is my prediction. I think my prediction was somewhere between 375 and 475. I don't think it's going to be the Constellation. Wow, the speculation is just nuts. Alright, what wave is this? This is still wave 2? Okay. So I've also been looking at some other things inside this game. So we're going to pull back. So that's what's coming out. And I've been looking at the component systems. And so far we can play with some minor components. And while that's happening, they've taken away some of the abilities for you to put components in some ships like this. Over here, the Mustang, which doesn't have that all-round phased shields that you get in some of these ships. And I would normally pull my force wall out of my 325A and throw it into here, and I can't do that right now, but nonetheless, I'm having fun with the different coolers that they have, the different power plants, and the ships that I can do the component upgrades. I really am liking it. I think the component system, although the game's still buggy, is starting to flesh out very well, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I am still trying to understand, though, the lore or the belief system behind the multiple parts, like multiple shield systems, multiple power plant systems inside this ship. And I'm also starting to wonder, there used to be something called CPU before. Is that something that they've gotten rid of? I don't know, and that's something I probably want to ask Ben. Alright, so let's talk about what's going on in the game right now, because I really want to talk about this. So the Mustang over here that I'm flying is going to encounter a major bug by the end of this video, and we're probably not going to see it. And that major bug is something that's been happening to me in a couple of enablers. What happens is eventually you're in the Arena Commander so long, for some reason the sound system starts to lag, which I understand is part of WWise or WISE audio. And that system runs the audio processing on a separate thread, on a separate core. This is going out. So what happens is that the system just totally bogs down and slows down, and then all of a sudden just stops. And I'm wondering how many of you have seen that. I have never seen that. Whenever I've gotten buggy, I load up a drone sim, jump into Vandal Swarm, and just play my heart out, to get my Star Citizen fix. So over the weekend, when I was jumping in and out of the the PU, to have my Star Citizen fix there, and I started to get, started to crash, or, I'm not going to complain about it. I do like the fact that there's PvP in the game. So I am not, for the life of me, picking on the game for having PvP in it. But when I would get too frustrated with being killed every 2 seconds, I would jump into Arena Commander and have fun. But then all of a sudden that's been taken away from me. But what I did notice is how much more fun Arena Commander has gotten, especially now since my frame rate is much higher than the 20s it was about a month or two ago. And something else I like that's been taken out of it is that haze that always seemed to be around everything. Now, haze, or like a fog, like effect, I guess you want to call it, is always added in games like this to break down the sharpness, give better depth and realistic feel to the textures in the game. But in a lot of situations, they have overdone it, especially in things like the Retaliator, where the unit itself is just way too hazy for me. What I used to find in Arena Commander is that haze, that fog, would just slow my system down to a crawl. Now I have 16 gigs of RAM on my system, big deal. A 970 with 4 gigs of RAM, that's an NVIDIA 970 by EVGA. And although not the best processor in the world, a more than capable processor of running this game, an AMD FX 937 Vishera, which, although it's not a 6770K, it is more than capable of running Star Citizen. So I used to get only about 20 to 24 frames a second in the game. Now I'm running consistently in the 30 to 50s, with an occasional drop, usually when you have pop-ins of the Vandal or you have a loss of one of your own shipmates, down to the 30s. And I'm very happy with that. But then I jump into the PU and I just go fly around. And although I'll get 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 frames, I find that when I am fighting, it's usually far less than that. And I can tell you that it's the level of detail. Whoa, maybe that's what's going on here. The level of detail in this game with all the ships probably being so low, maybe that's what's making the frame rate better. Nonetheless, I find that inside of the PU, my frame rate drops significantly. Alright, I'm going to skip ahead over here and then continue to talk. I want to get to some of the fun things. Alright, I skipped ahead to Wave 6, and I'm going to end it in just a few seconds here. This is one of the things I like about having rocket pods on my ship. Let's get there. Come on, let's go. And Priest has just jumped in. I'm going to start looking for him. There he is. Let's turn in. And we got him right there. Okay. So now all we got to do is just keep our guns going on him. And we're in the stock loadout on the Mustang right now, which is 2 117s, 2 M3As, and the 2 rocket pods. So we get him. Let's get him lined up. Get him lined up. And fire. Ooh, look at that. That is just awesome when you fire those rocket pods. Alright, let's take it ahead to the next match. Now this mission will go 100% with what was going on with the game this weekend and where we are with the game at this point. Now, what you find is I have 3 of my friends in there. I think it's Pappy Boynton, Notable Joe, it might be Mover Marcus, and Einan. All of them are in sabers, and all of them are having various issues with the saber. One of them actually just opened up on me while he was firing at my target and took apart my ship. Nonetheless, they were all having issues, various issues. Logging in with no guns, logging in with no nav ball, logging in with no HUD at all because your character has no helmet on. And those are the things I've been finding in quite a number of the ships that you play. I have never found that in my Mustang at this point, but I've found it repeatedly in the Vanguard and the Sabre, the 2 newest ships, but also inside of the Gladius, and maybe that's an Anvil, not an Anvil, a Aegis Dynamics issue. Nonetheless, I'm in this match and trying to keep my friends alive. They keep on dying, and you have to finish a elite round to bring somebody back in when you're doing the co-op Vandal Swarm. So a lot of times in this match it got down to me, and not because I didn't have good friend pilots with me, not good, you know, not that my friends weren't great pilots, but their ships were gimped. As soon as we moved to a different roundup where they were all in Super Hornets and I was in my Mustang, things got much better. But for this one, it's just showing you the game really, although it's fun, although it's bloody gorgeous, it's one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played, and for an alpha, pretty damn good for an alpha, even though it's crashing all over the place right now. I know it will be done, but nonetheless,
crashed constantly.
This is one of those things that I thought was just tried and true. Oh my god, I must be ADD like crazy today, trying to do 2 or 3 things at once. My big issue right now is that this part of the game is supposed to work. This part of the game is supposed to work. I'm going to say that again. This part of the game is supposed to work. This is Arena Commander. It's not the PU. This is the part that we've been playing for over a year and a half. This is the part that we've been playing and having fun with. This is where we come and we test our ships and we test our weapons loadouts. And this is not supposed to be broken at this point. This is supposed to be the finished game within the game. And even though new ships are going to be added and new ships are going to be upgraded and new ship components need to be tested and added, you would expect that this part would work. Well, it's not always going to work, and I understand that at this point. So we took our band of brothers and sisters into Arena Commander this weekend and had a pretty decent time. And although this particular match crashed at Wave 17, what a heartbreaker, we did get one match to go all the way through to Wave 18. And of course in that one, Onion, who is probably one of the best pilots inside of the Enablers, he's very humble and doesn't claim to be the best. I know there's other people in our group. There are other people in our group that are great. We miss Raglich. He was a wonderful pilot. But
that's pretty cool. I'll check it out.
He just seems to always be way on top. And in this situation, the match that we played right after this, he was at 83 and I was at 47K. He destroyed me. Of course, he was in a Super Hornet and I was on a Mustang and everybody else was in Super Hornets. But still, I came in second in a Mustang. Oh my god, in a light fighter, I came in second. Alright, so let's go back to the beginning of where this started. This is my ADD feelings, thoughts, preview, and musings about the game at this point. I know I do State of the Game, but this week's State of the Game was kind of rushed because I did it before I got into 2.2.2. I just expected that to fix a lot of the issues that were out there, but it didn't. The game is still a little bit broken. I know they're working hard at it. I know they're going to be giving us a lot more fun things in it. And this weekend, get ready. Get your wallets, get your pocketbooks, get your piggy banks and your mattresses stuffed with money ready because there will be another sale, according to Jared, Disco Lando. Alright folks, enough with my musings. I've got to go. I've got to go study. I had a great time bringing you one of my favorite loadouts on this particular ship, which is 4 CF-117s and anything else you want to put on the nose turret. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, that's true.